श्रीगुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओं। गणानान्त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमं ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पत शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनं श्रीमहागणाधिपतये नमः। सदाशिवसमारम्भां शङ्कराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। मिश्रस्य सत्त्वस्य भवन्ति धर्माः त्वमानिताद्या नियमायमाद्याः श्रद्धा च भक्तिश्च मुमुक्षुता च दैवी च सम्पत्तिरसन्निवृत्तिः। So when Sattva-guna dominates in the striver's heart, the sadhaka's heart, then there will be the required amount of shraddha in his pursuit. So shraddha, as we have seen, it is the enthusiasm, or you can also call it earnestness. So this earnestness or shraddha can also be described as honesty of pursuit. One should be honest with himself. Suppose I say satyam vada dharmanjara, like that I say, the vakyas I recite, but I don't hesitate to tell an untruth. That is a dishonesty, absence of honesty in oneself. So when it comes to the study of Vedanta, so what we are studying, if we are honest with ourselves, we should reorganize our life around that vision. That is called shraddha. Generally, people convert the study of Vedanta into a kind of intellectual engagement, which it is. It really engages the intellect. And so, for example, you see multiplicity, but you have to discover the truth underlying the multiplicity. So it's a big engagement. It's a challenge, intellectual challenge. People, the human psychology, you can see, the Sudoku is that. So they want to create a puzzle or a puzzle for themselves, and then they want to solve it and then feel great about it. So you need not create a puzzle at all. You can remain quiet. So then you need not solve it. And then this is how the ego operates. The ego wants a challenge. You see, if I give example, some cases they may not feel good about it. Like for example, you want to scale the Mount Everest. Why should you scale Mount Everest? Not necessary, no meaningful purpose is served by scaling Mount Everest. But then somebody makes it a challenge for himself. I will scale Mount Everest. And then he accomplishes it. And whose challenge it is? Till people recognize it, it is a person's challenge to himself. This is how ego has multiple facets. It is very difficult to understand the movement of ego. It has multiple facets of multiple aspects of movement. It moves in very peculiar ways, and this is one such way. Ego moves in this way. It creates a challenge to itself. So Sudoku, I will you add in any direction, it should add up to 16. Why should it add up? Not necessary, So, but you create a challenge. So you solve it and then feel good about it. That is the operation of ego, movement of ego. So this is how Vedanta becomes an intellectual challenge for some people. They have studied quite a few things in modern education, and so why to leave Vedanta out? So let us do something there also. So this kind of ego's challenge. In that there will be no shraddha. And that kind of a study we come across quite often. It lacks in shraddha. Once you have converted into a challenge to the intellect, then it doesn't have that earnestness, the honesty of purpose, integrity of approach. All those things, they are all same. I used multiple words just to explain the principle much better. So that is shraddha, honesty of purpose. You should be very honest with yourself. And then integrity. And then whatever name you give to it, earnestness. So sometimes I don't mind saying it dead earnest. One should be dead earnest. That is shraddha. So that is a very important quality. And then one has to sustain it. Having started it, arambhashoratvam is a quality. So people are very enthusiastic to begin with, but slowly it becomes a part of the monotonous existence. Human existence is very monotonous. So you like a few things and you gain them, and you dislike a few things, try to avoid them. Whole life is gone in the pursuit of ragadvesha. Very monotonous existence. And so everything, therefore all the time we are looking for something new and get hold of something new, and soon a mind converts it into the part of monotonous existence. Therefore Vedanta also becomes like that. It becomes a monotonous existence. That is how it happens in the absence of shraddha. Therefore shraddha is the capital of Vedantic pursuit. Anyway, the point is made well. Then comes bhakti. I said I will say a few things about bhakti. So I was already talking about apara bhakti, also called gauna bhakti. Gauna meaning secondary, second class bhakti. And then para bhakti. The word para bhakti is translated by Swami Vivekananda as a supreme devotion. That is how he translated it. And he has a text, Swami Vivekananda's text, with the name Bhakti Yoga, translated as Supreme Devotion in English. It is one of the most valuable treatises on the spirit of bhakti. And so that is the Parabhakti. Now, in Parabhakti, people, you see, bhakti people, you see, please don't mind my saying these things. There are three kinds of people who develop hostility towards jnanam. Very unknowingly, they develop it. Once it develops in them, they are now hostile towards knowledge, and that settles down in them. And so you can observe that. There are three kinds of people. There is an expression for that in Sanskrit. They are called jnana shatravaha. Shatru is hostile. You know who are they? Karmathaha. The karma people. They are ritual people. So you know what they say? What will you do from morning to evening? What will you read from this end of the book to that end? Why not do some karma? And then that is one thing they say. And one time one karma man was telling, Swamiji, he teaches dharma, whereas we practice dharma. That is what he says. You see, already he has thrown a stone on the Swamiji. Right? He teaches dharma, whereas we practice dharma. That is what he said. And I just looked at him, and I knew him. He is a karmatha, and so he has some hostility towards jnana. Then yoga people. I am not saying all yoga people in general. That's why Swami Vishnu Devananda, who brought yoga to the West in the yesteryears, he started Shivananda Yoga Vedanta Center. So that yoga is integrated into Vedanta, Vedanta is integrated into yoga. He made a manual, quite a big book, a manual for the running of the ashrams or the centers. In that manual, yoga occupies an important place, but Vedanta occupies equally important place. So, in that wisdom, there is a beautiful integration. Where such an integration doesn't take place, the Hatha Yoga people, they become hostile to jnana. In fact, I know one yogi from a reputed yoga school in India. He says, Bhagavad Gita, what Bhagavad Gita you will read? Saying yoga, yoga all the time from morning to evening, you say yoga. Can you do Sarvangasana? No, I cannot do. Then why you say yoga from morning to evening? So like that. So that they have a point that we should be able to do Sarvangasana. It is necessary. All asanas we should do practice. A few asanas and some pranayama we should practice. That is the point, and it is well taken. There is no doubt about it. And there is every reason for doing that. But there is no reason to develop hostility towards knowledge. He says, Bhagavad Gita, he says to me, so from this cover to this cover you read. Unable to do practice of yoga even for 5 minutes. What kind of reading it is? That is what he says. So it is not that simple. It is not like reading from this cover to that cover. Gita is not like that. Gita is the essence of human existence. So one should have an open mind. This is the yoga people, Hatha yoga people. That Hatha itself explains some of that quality. So the word, then there are bhakti people. Once I was going to meet one great Mahatma in Andhra Pradesh. He is no more now. He is a great devotee of Rama, and he popularized the name of Rama, the devotion to Rama in India. It is already popular. He made it even more, he kindled that interest in the hearts of people, and he is highly reputed in India, Andhra Pradesh. So I was going to meet him, to pay my respects to him. His name is Lakshmana Yatindra. He is a great Mahatma. And the person who is taking me, he is driving the car. He asked me, Swami, what jnanam you will do? Why not you devote your life to bhakti? That is what he tells me. He came to pick me up, and I was teaching Dakshinamurti Stotram in those days. And so my class was over, and I took a cup of tea, and then I went along with him. Okay, now I am ready, let us go. So while driving, he says, what jnanam you are talking in the morning, why you waste time like that? Why not practice some devotion? That is what that Swami does. He said to me that. And then he says, because you are a new Swami, I thought I should give this bit of advice to you. So I said, okay, I will do that. So the bhakti means what? Devotion. People think devotion means some rituals, performing some rituals, visiting some shrines, and chanting some names, or reciting some stotras, encomiums. This is what bhakti is defined. Therefore, in all this, I have covered the area of the apara bhakti mostly, how it is practiced in the society. And so they think what is there to know? There is nothing to know. You recite a stotram, or you chant the name of Hare Rama, or whatever, for 7 days you can chant that name. It gives a lot of joy. So what you will do, what is there to know? So like that they develop some hostility. So this is wrong. As long as you do not know, your karma is meaningless, it becomes mechanical and routine. And it doesn't uplift the person. Jnatva karmani kurveta. One should know and then perform the ritual. Then bhakti, what is bhakti? You should know. Then only you will be able to practice devotion. Without knowing, you will not be able to practice devotion. I would like to quote one verse from Gita. I personally feel that verse, it summarizes the essence of devotion in one single verse. Gita verses are like that. You hold on to that verse, you have the entire Bhakti Shastra, the discipline of Bhakti, incorporated in that single verse. The verse is like this. So I thought I will discuss this Bhakti a little, because that verse puts the Bhakti there. So As I told you, this verse is not one sentence verse. This is a verse of multiple sentences. So bhakti is a sentence. And so Shri Krishna says in Gita, aham sarvasya prabhavaha matta sarvam pravartate iti matva bhajante mam. Bhajante means bhaktim kurvanti. They practice devotion. Budhaha bhava samanvitaha. So bhajante, they practice devotion. Who are they? Budhaha. Who? The knowers. Those who know. They should know. Then only they can practice devotion. Know what? Iti matva. Matva is a jnatva. So, mana avabodhane. So, iti jnatva. So, there are two things to know. Two things you should know. If you know those two things well, you know that in your heart, you understand deep within. So, that kind of knowing. So, deeply within, in the heart, you know that. You see that. That is the knowing. Knowing is seeing. So, two things. What are they? Aham sarvasya prabhavaha. You see, you look at the world. When you are looking at the world, there are two kinds of drishti. Drishti is vision. You look at the world in a particular way. And what you see is very deeply influenced by that drishti. So people think that what they see is outside. That is wrong. What they see is not outside. What they see is inside. So they take out what is inside and put on the outside. This is what is called projection. Suppose you say, he is my son. This son, S-O-N son, is not outside. Outside there is a human being. So, a human being is standing there. Now you take out this idea called son, I am a father. So, people live with that idea. And they take that idea to be truth. They don't understand that it is an idea cultivated by me. This idea I have cultivated. That they don't understand. They are very sure that that is the gospel truth. So I am the father, he is my son. That is the gospel truth. And therefore he looks at him. And he looks at him as son. And he believes that the son is outside. Son is not outside. Outside there is a human being. Bhagavan has not created a son, S-O-N son. He created a human being. And we projected the idea of son upon him. But people believe that the sun is outside. Just I gave you an example. Therefore, whatever vision people have, that deeply influences your understanding of the world. Therefore, there are two kinds of vision. One is karya drishti, another is karana drishti. Karya vision, karana vision. So you look at the world. How does it appear to you? So, I give you an illustration. Suppose a young lady, this is our standard illustration, please don't mind. It need not be a young lady all the time. It can be a young man also, just a standard illustration. It comes from Bhagavatam, it comes from everywhere. So, this young lady, she goes to a jeweler's shop. And now she is looking at the variety of jewels that are displayed in that display cases. Now, what is it that she looks at? She looks at what she sees. What does she see? She sees necklaces, a variety of them. Some of them are really worth possessing, but all of them are not so. Then she sees earrings. Some of them are good, but others are not so good at all. And then she sees nose rings, she sees armlets, bracelets, anklets, all kinds of lets she sees. That is what she sees. That is called karya drishti. Suppose, let me put myself in her shoes. So I go to this I have accomplished. In my sannyasa life, this is one thing I have accomplished. I did not know what else I have accomplished, but this I have accomplished. That is, so I never see any ornament. I only see gold. Kanakameva pashyati. Like that in Bhagavatam it is there. So I see only gold. I don't see necklace, I see gold. and I take credit for it. That drishti is called karana drishti. I tell you, a person who sees the ornaments, it is not about lady or gentleman. A person who sees the ornaments, he is the consumer and he is the customer. Whereas a person who sees the gold, he is the jeweler. He is not customer anymore. He doesn't wear jewels. He sells only ornaments. He doesn't wear ornaments. He sells ornaments. He doesn't wear them himself. He is interested in gold only. He is not interested in what kind of ornaments are being prepared, how they are selling, what is not. He is not interested in all that. He sees gold. There is an example for this. This example, Puja Swamiji's example it is. You see, this man takes a necklace to sell to the jeweler. You know how he takes it? He takes it like this. Because it is a necklace. It has two ends in a parabolic shape. And so he holds those two ends and takes to the jeweler. And the jeweler has to receive it and tell what price it will fetch. So how he should receive, we expect, the person expects him to receive like this, but he doesn't receive like this. He puts his hand like that. You know what is the significance of this hand putting like this? By the time you put your necklace into his hand, it is no more necklace. Because necklace means that neck should be, it is the lace for the neck, you know. That's why you hold like this. That's why they prepare a model, some plastic model of the neck and put it there. A neck should always be there. Whereas he doesn't care for the neck anymore. He puts his hand like that. By the time you drop that thing into his hand, he puts it in the pan, the weighing pan. So in that he puts, and he puts it as a heap there. In his hand it becomes a heap. It loses its necklaceness then and there. He need not melt it. He will melt it later. Already it is no more necklace. It is gold. That is called karana drishti and karya drishti. Now, you see, aham sarvasya prabhavaha. This universe has the material cause. This is the highest philosophy of Vedanta. I tell you, to surmise that there is a great architect who created this marvelous world, you don't require much intelligence. That is very easy. You look at a palace and then you infer by syllogism that there is an architect, there must have been an architect who made this palace. Does it require big intelligence? It doesn't require big intelligence. Therefore, here is the world before you, and some great architect by name God, he is sitting elsewhere. He created this, he made this world. That doesn't require great intelligence or great insight. You don't need any insight for that. Ishvara is nimitta karana, is a very simple thing. In fact, it is almost a silly thing to say. It is not Vedanta. Vedanta begins when it is mentioned that Ishvara is the material cause. He is the upadana. Ishvara is the material of this universe. It is like gold is the material of necklace. The material of necklace is gold. You know what does it mean? It means the Atma of necklace is gold. The word Atma. Atma is the essence, the essential content of necklace. That is the Atma. Then what is necklace? That is gold. The Atma is gold. Then what is necklace? It is a name given to a shape. It is name and shape. Namarupa. Not essence. Essence is gold. So similarly, this world is a collection or a collective of a collective noun. When you say universe or world, it's a collective noun. So it is the collective of a variety of names and forms. And this variegated world, what is its Atma? If you look at the variety per se, only variety, you look at that only. If that alone engages your vision, you are looking at the world and the variety of the world engages your vision, you know what happens right away? Your mind is split then and there into attachment, like and dislike, which will graduate or which will grow into attachment and aversion, called raga and dvesha. You see, raga and dvesha are attachment and aversion. So, saying that they are like and dislike could be a little simplistic, I suppose. Because, you see, suppose a tablet is there, which is a bit bitter, and it is good for my health. So when I put it in my mouth, though I am a Swami or I am a Vedanti, I will not be able to like it because it is bitter. So it is not something which I like. A dish that is enjoyable dish, I like it. Whereas this bitter tablet or bitter pill, I don't like it. But I take it with love. Therefore, like, dislike, they are immediate responses of the sense organ. Whereas, if you go deeper from the sense organ level to the mind and then to the intellect, you go deeper. There, I like this pill. I love this pill because it gives health to me. At the level of the taste buds, the taste buds won't like it, but I love that pill. Therefore, you go a little deeper. Like and dislike is a bit superficial, it is. If you give me chance, I will go to the extent of saying there is nothing wrong in having a like or a dislike. Because like and dislike, they happen. Suppose some neem thing comes into the mouth. Whatever little thing you have eaten earlier, that also will be thrown out. When it is so bitter, you will throw out that whatever food was there inside. And nobody likes it. Therefore, it is a bit simplistic, I suppose. But in the mind, the liking, it becomes more intensified, or it becomes rooted as an attachment. For example, a particular dish is likable because that is how the taste buds are and that is how the dish is made. Up to that, there is no problem. But if I am attached to that dish, then I am in trouble. Therefore, raga and dvesha are a little deeper than like and dislike. If you want to treat them as like and dislike, you are welcome. I am not saying anything against it. Given choice to me, I would call them attachment and aversion. That sounds better for me. So, raga and dvesha. So, when you look at the world as a variety, a collective of variable things, a variety of things, then so the sense organs at their level, their responses will be like, dislike, and then when we are in the hands of the sense organs, we allow free rein to the sense organs, so eventually these likes and dislikes, they will be translated or imprinted in the mind as raga and dvesha, attachment and aversion. Now you have a world before you. It invokes the deep feelings of attachment and aversion, and the world is, therefore it is real, and it is multiple, and it is variegated. This is the drishti. This vision is so opposite to the vision of Vedanta, and this vision is the obstacle that is there as a challenge. And then some guy who is talking about a Vedanta text, he comes and says, Jagat Mithya. Mithya, what is Mithya, sir? Are Mithya means what? You think the world is real? Yes. No, it is not real. That is Mithya. Now, you don't like it because it is not palatable. Therefore, you have to do something with that Mithya. You have to do somehow make it this way, this way. Never. There is a proverb in Telugu: the stick doesn't break, the serpent won't die. But the Shastra is not like that. You know what is Mithya? unreal. You think it is real. It is unreal. Give an example. Okay, you are welcome. You go to the movie and you are so absorbed in the movie, believing that it is all real. But you know at the end of it all that it is unreal. You know easily that it is unreal. Therefore it becomes illustration. There also you don't know easily and somebody has to teach you that movie is unreal, then that cannot be illustration. So that is an illustration. Like a swapna. Like swapna, everything appears to be so real in its time. In the swapna kala, in its time it appears so real. But you wake up. Waking up, what is the definition of waking up? Waking up means seeing the dream as a dream. That is called waking up. So, instead of seeing the dream as real, you will now see the dream as a dream. Means you have woken up. Now, you have to wake up from this karya drishti that I have described into karana drishti. That is called bhakti. Karana drishti is bhakti. I tell you how. So, let me apply this reductionism. Just I said one word. I am not sure whether reductionism is what I am saying only. I will go to Google and see whether there is something more to it. Because the philosophies, they use the words with certain connotation. And sometimes what I say may not be the connotation which is widely accepted. But let me say like this. What I do, I am not interested in Namarupa. First, I have to develop that vision. For me, Namarupa has no meaning. I love my mother. But the love for my mother is certainly not the love for the name and form. That's why my love for my mother doesn't make me sad when she left the mortal frame. It doesn't make me sad. In a way, it makes me a little reflexive or reflecting, and so a little inward looking, or I reflect upon it a little while. That's all. I don't become sad, because I am not. For me, mother is it is a principle rather than a name and a form, and that principle, which appeared with a certain shape earlier, now doesn't appear with that shape anymore. Now what happened to that principle? That principle has merged in the universal principle, which is Ishvara. And Ishvara's presence, I try to feel all the time. And therefore, as long as this is the I means not the Swami. That is, I am demonstrating an illustration. So I am not telling my story, I and you. So, therefore, my mother is her presence is as real as the presence of Ishvara, because she is merged in Ishvara. Therefore, I don't miss her, because I never miss her. She is always there, and she is blessing me also, because the Ishvara's presence includes the presence of the mother. Therefore, so that's why. So you have to develop or cultivate a knack or even an insight that enables you to transcend the Namarupa. You have to cultivate it. I would give an exhortation. As long as you believe, or as long as you somehow take it that whatever has a name and a shape alone is real, or is real, whatever has a name and shape is real, so long you will not come to know the truth. Yeah? It may sound a bit undesirable, not unpalatable, but please take it. You will not come to know the truth as long as you pay attention, too much undesirable attention to Namarupa. So, Namarupa, you have to perseveringly learn to dismiss Namarupa. As long as the attachment to Namarupa persists. Once the attachment is neutralized, then you need not dismiss it. You remain spontaneous. You don't go on dismissing it. But till that attachment is there, you have to dismiss it. And so you have to transcend the Namarupa. That is what is called reductionism. So what I do not see names and forms. I see only Panchabhutas, 5 elements. This is the Panchabhuta model. I do not see my home, my land, his land. I do not see all that. I see only land, which is Prithvi. And Prithvi is that boulder example I was telling in the morning. Boulder is a presence. That's why it is significant. The presence, a presence that cannot be ignored. It's a very a presence that challenges you every time. Here I am, did you notice? It challenges you. That is the presence. A mountain is a presence like that. A river is a presence like that. You cannot ignore the presence of river. You cannot ignore the presence of a mountain. Similarly, you learn to see a tree like that as a presence. You see, you look at a tree and ask whether it is acacia or birch tree. That is not the point. You need not be a botanist on every occasion. You look at a tree as a presence, and then gradually the Namarupa fade. They go into background, and the presence comes into the focus. The camera people do this kind of a thing in movies. So in a Hollywood movie, he puts the camera, he focuses the camera on the hero, and then all other people and the heroine they are lightly seen on the screen, but he comes into the focus, and then he says something. Then he goes into the background and the heroine comes into focus. Like that he does, So similarly, there is Namarupa. You do see the Namarupa. You are not blind to Namarupa. But you not only see the Namarupa, you see through the Namarupa. You see through Namarupa, and then you feel the presence. That presence in one particular upadhi is called Prithvi. Prithvi, so the earth is a marvelous presence. That's why Sri Krishna says in Gita, Gama Vishyacha Bhutani Dharayam Yaham Ojasa. I am the Antaryami, the inner controller of this grand presence which you call Prithvi. And I am the presence that abides in that Prithvi. And Apaha, waters. So, you see, you look at Ganga, Kaveri, Godavari, all that is fine. All the rivers are given names. But that is fine. And in cultural and in a religious context, those names are very valid. But so that's why I have taken bath in Godavari, I have not yet taken bath in Ganga. So I am waiting for that opportunity. Now I have done that also. I am happy. I am satisfied. All that is fine. But in the seeker's life, a stage should come when for him, whether it is Ganga or Godavari or Delaware, river Delaware or Mississippi or Nile, it is all the same. It is all Ishvara. So for me, at least for me, I have accomplished this much. For me, Ganga, Godavari, Delaware, which is very close to our ashram, and Mississippi, and they are all equally real to me, equally sacred to me. And when I was, I had the occasion to see the Nile River, I did pranam to the Nile River, and I touched the waters and put some waters on the head. It is like Ganga to me. In fact, I want to come to a point where all water is sacred. It is a marvelous presence. Rasoham apsu kaunteya. Shri Krishna says that capacity or that power to quench the thirst that you see in waters and a few other things, they are all divinity only. They are manifest divinity. That is apaha. Then agnihi, fire. Fire is something very unique. You see, if you go into the history of chemistry or physics, for that chemistry mostly, the scientists, their mind was engaged on fire for 1 century. From 17th century to 18th century, those scientists, some of them, who have made initial discoveries, like they discovered oxygen and they discovered nitrogen, which doesn't support fire, which puts off fire. So those were the very initial days of discoveries. So then they were examining this fire and tried to understand what is fire. And they made theories, some speculations. Some of them are wild also. They do not come anywhere near the truth. So they were studying fire. What is fire? Because it is something special. Fire is something special. So you see, the energy which is spread all across multiple molecules, all of that energy comes into a very intense condensation, intensely condensed, all that energy, that appears as fire. It is chemical energy condensed into a very brief space. A lot of chemical energy condensed into a brief space. That is what fire is. And fire is radiational energy also. It is very unique, it is. It is a vibhuti. It is a miracle of the nature, which means the miracle of God. So, that fire. This is how the rishis visualized fire. And they visualized God's glory in fire. Agnimide purohitam. So like that Rigveda begins. That is the very beginning of Rigveda. I praise the glory of Agni. Agni has two meanings. Fire and then Agre Nayati, the originator of this creation. Ishvara. So fire is Ishvara. And then Vayu. Vayu is life. Pranaha. So namaste Vayo. Tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. Vayu is addressed in a very special way. That kind of special adoration or reverence is not displayed or shown on any other element or on any other devata. Vayu is a very special devata. Namaste Vayo. Tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. You are the Brahman. The Brahman, which is nirguna, and therefore you cannot experience it, you cannot visualize it. Whatever you visualize is not the reality. It becomes a concept of the mind. Whereas this Vayu, in Vayu there is no mind. The mind with all its ideas and notions, etc., parading as truths, remains suspended when you dwell or you focus upon the Vayu. You see, Vayu's glory, Vayu is timeless. Suppose mind, what is mind? Mind is the flow of thoughts, and thought is encased in time. Thought means it is in time, past, present, future. That is what thought is. Thought is an intrinsic parameter of time. And you keep the mind aside. You just drop it. Drop all thinking. Drop all mental effort. Watch the breath. The breath is timeless. In breath there is no time. You practice it yourself. You watch the breath. You need not regulate it. That is different. That is pranayama. No regulation. Just watch the breath. While you are watching the breath, as long as you watch the breath, you are in the present. And in breath, there is no past, there is no future. If you look at the body, it has a past and it has a future. It has age, this and that. In breath, no age, no past, no future. If you have one thing which is timeless, which transcends time, that is breath, Vayu. And that's why it is God. God is Nityaha, means timeless. Time, Akal, God is Akalaha, Akal. Sat Shri Akal. That is what God is. And so Vayu embodies Ishvara's glory as the timelessness. And so Namaste, that is the Brahma. Namaste Vayo, Tvameva pratyaksham brahmasi. I very deeply and very really I see you, I feel you, and you are timeless, and you are Brahma. That is Vayu. And then space, Akasha. Space is God. And you see, you cannot appreciate the godliness of space until and unless you transcend the Namarupa Buddhi. Space signifies the transcendence of name and form. Space has no form. It is formless. And it is endless. And it is very close to Ishvara. It is the embodiment of Ishvara. So much so, Ishvara is called Digambaraha. Ishvara, what is the Ishvara? Suppose you visualize Ishvara as a Purusha, a gentleman standing there. Then he must be wearing some dress. Yes. What is his dress? Space is his dress. Dik means space. Space is his dress. So, if you pursue Purana Drishti means it need not be so crude. So like Bhagavan, he moves around naked. No, it is not that. It is not the thing. That is not the idea. If you say Digambara, he moves around naked. Like in Varanasi, there are some sadhus who move around naked, and Shiva is also like that. Kya baat hai? I am not very clean, happy with it. You need not visualize like that. Is not the point. So that is making things too crude and too gross. I don't know how to look at it. I am very happy with this. Digambaraha, the space. That is how Upanishad says, Akasha Shariram Brahma Satyatma Pranaramam Mana Anandam Shanti Samruddham Amrutam. Akasha Shariram Brahma. Paramatma has a body. The body means outer cover. That is the body, you know. So what is it? Akasha. So space is his outer outline. Space is the outline of God. This is the world. This is called Karana Drishti. Therefore, when you wake up, you put your feet on the floor, you remember God. You are inhaling and exhaling, it is Ishvara. You drink water, you are in communion with Ishvara. Rasoham apsu kaunteya. You are in communion with Ishvara all the time. The Karana Drishti, it takes away the focus of the mind from the unreal names and forms that we call Jagat and fixes the mind on the reality underlying this Jagat, which is Ishvara. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha iti matva. Having known this, Buddha. So the rishis, the seers, the knowers of truth, they worship me, bhajante. That is the bhakti. Matva. So without jnanam, what is bhakti? How can there be bhakti without jnanam? This is one aspect. Then one more aspect, to cement bhakti. So you please look at this thesis. You shift from Karya Drishti to Karana Drishti. That shift is equivalent to a shift from worldliness to devotion to Ishvara. The true devotion, that is the shift. And that is one. Aham sarvasya prabhavaha matta sarvam pravartate. That is the second vakya. You see, there are two drishtis. Chalana drishti, preraka drishti. Suppose fan is rotating. Now, this fan, it makes less sound but gives good breeze. It is a Usha fan, made of Usha company. Instead of 3 wings, or three of those propeller-like things, 3 blades, it has 4. Therefore, it is superior. No, not only it is giving breeze, but also it has a lamp attached to it. It's a two-in-one. This is called chalana drishti. You are looking at the moving thing, and in the process you miss or you lose sight of preraka drishti or chalaka drishti. What is it that moves the fan? Where is your focus? Is it on the movement, or is it on the power behind the movement? Always what appears is superficial and gross. That is only movement. You only see movement. You have to learn to see the unseen, the power behind the movement. Therefore, the one who sees the electricity, maybe he is an electrical engineer, whereas the one who sees the movement is a consumer. He is a very worldly person. Just I gave some example. So, that is how the shift has to happen. So, you see the movement, and immediately your focus shifts to the power behind that movement. So, you see, in this creation, it is all movement. An ant has taken a step forward. That is a tiny movement. And the earth going round the sun, it's a very big movement. And the sun itself is moving in the galaxy in a straight line. And the galaxies are moving constantly. They are receding from each other. Everything is moving. And we study that movement. You study the movement of the atom, then you are a chemist or atomic physicist. There is movement within the atom, there is nucleus and electrons, right? And within the nucleus, there is movement. The nucleons, the protons, neutrons, positrons, etc., they are all moving. They are not sitting there. They are sitting put, and therefore electrons are going round and round. It's okay. That is 10th class physics. But the nucleus is in motion. And the nucleons are moving, neutrons are moving, protons are moving. They are all moving. And they move in orbits again. Everything is moving. And you study the movement of the nucleons. That is called nuclear physics. And you study the movement of planets. You are a planetary astronomer. And you study the movement of galaxies. You are a cosmologist. You study the movement of social life. You are a sociologist. So people are so deeply committed to the movement. But there comes a devotee who sees that unseen hand behind all the movement. He says, when an ant takes a step forward, and then when a new star is born, or an old star has died away, galaxies are merging with each other. Very cataclysmic movement. So, in this movement as well as in that movement, the Shiva is there. Without the command of Shiva, who is the Antaryami, nothing moves in this creation. He sees Shiva in every moment. When the heart is moving, he sees Shiva or Ishvara in the movement of the heart. And when the heart skips a beat, Ishvarajna, it is the will of Ishvara that the heart now chooses to beat irregularly. And now the heart is about to stop. Yeah, the one who makes it move, so makes it stop. And we accept it, what is there in it. Let it stop. If that is the will of Ishvara, thy will be done. Therefore, you see chalana, but you see the chalaka. Chalana drishti to chalaka drishti. That is the second sentence. Matta sarvam pravartate. Pravartate means prachalati. Shankara, he explains it quite well in some small word, I do not remember exactly. Everything in this universe is moving by the will of Ishvara, by the power of Ishvara. Therefore, suppose something happened, you think that it should not happen. Means You have failed to see the chalaka. You are only seeing the chalana. Whereas somebody sees the chalaka, the mover, rather than the movement, for him, it is not difficult to accept the movement, because his focus is on the mover, not on the movement. His love is for the mover, not for the movement. Therefore, any movement is acceptable. Everything is acceptable. He accepts. He doesn't resent anything. There is a vakyam, yadeva bhavati, tadeva mangalaya. Whatever happens, happens for the good. Therefore, what happens, the division of sukha and dukkha, the boundary between sukha and dukkha, it vanishes. They merge. And so now it is not easy to define what is sukha and what is dukkha. Okay, then what happens? When the boundary between sukha and dukkha vanishes, you will not know what is sadness. You remain timelessly happy. Now you have crossed the boundaries of samsara. So mattas sarvam pravartate. The unseen hand of the higher power. The hand means it is a metaphorical expression. It is not that somebody sat there and put his hand and all that. So, iti matva. Only these two, karya drishti to karana drishti, chalana drishti to chalaka drishti, that makes you a seer, Buddha, that makes you a visionary, and that makes you a devotee. Bhajante. And that gives rise to what is called bhakti, bhava samanvitaha. They are endowed, samanvitaha means endowed with bhava. Bhava is love. Now, there is nothing worth hating or needs hating. Everything is loved. Everything. There is no reason to hate anything. There is no reason to resent anything. There is no reason to resist anything. You don't resist anything. Everything is, because you do not look at the movement. You see through the movement, you look at the mover, who is Ishvara. Therefore, what is there to resist? What is there to resent? Leave alone. When there is no resistance, there is no resentment. Somebody is born, Ishvara's movement. Somebody is no more, Ishvara's movement. You see, there is a small anecdote, these simple anecdotes. There was a Mahatma, and in the village they give bhiksha to him. They put some small amount of food in a box. They call dabba. And I give the dabba to him at the time. They send it to him. He eats and sits. And so one day his dabba, it has a bigger dabba came. And all kinds of special items are there, vadai, etc. The person who came, he asked, why, what is so special? Why the dabba is so filled with so many items? What happened? He asked, because it is not the routine, out of the way. There somebody died. Then he said, oh, Shubham, Shubham, very nice. And he ate that food. So this man who brought this dabba, he went back and told, did you tell Swamiji, that Mahatmaji, that so much extra food is given, and did you tell? Yes, I told. What he told? Did he express any sympathy or no? No, he did not express sympathy. He said, Shubham, he blessed. Then these people that message spread. So they have some devotion to him. One of them said, he has blessed somebody's death, therefore death will be more and more. That is what the Mahatma told. Now I remember. I wish such occasions will repeat, because good food is coming. So, oh my goodness, he is a great saintly person. So we have to neutralize this. It becomes a curse. For him it is not a curse, but for us it becomes a curse. Then somebody gave an advice. Tomorrow again you send a similar box to him. After 2-3 days gap, they sent it. Then he asked, why Somebody has left this world or what? Like that he asked. No, a child is born. Then he said, oh, they make this kind of thing when somebody is born also? Yes, they do that. Oh, Shubham, good. That is how they neutralized. So for him, birth and death, everything happens by the mover's hand. There is nothing to rejoice about birth, particularly, and there is nothing to become distressed about death, because all movement happens by the same power. So that is the bhava, love. So that is bhakti. Now you tell me whether bhakti is opposite to jnana. In fact, bhakti is the logical outcome of jnana. Bhaktya sanjataya bhaktya. So that is the bhakti, supreme devotion, which is no different from jnana. You see, I don't know whether you have noticed, because the topic came, I am bringing out whatever is there in my chest. So there is always a discussion whether karma is superior, bhakti is superior, or jnanam is superior. Of course, if you ask me to vote, I will vote for jnanam. There is no doubt about it. Already I have voted already. Karma without jnanam and bhakti without jnanam, that andha bhakti, it becomes a superstition. Bhakti without jnanam becomes a superstition. And karma without jnanam becomes mechanical and repetitive, and it makes your mind dull. Very harmful. Therefore, jnanam must be there. So like this is one level of explanation. Jnanam must be there. But then one day it was a revelation to me. One Mahatma, I owe this to a Mahatma. It was a revelation. He told me, as long as you see the division of karma, bhakti and jnana, you do not see the truth. And once you see the truth, then you will know that there is no division like karma, bhakti, jnana. That is what he told. Now, this is very interesting, because scholars are spending years and generations are going on in these discussions. And even today they are discussing whether Bhagavad Gita is karma or bhakti or jnana, even today. And there are commentators, they are writing commentaries, they are publishing books, they are writing blogs, so many things. This is a new thing now. Earlier it was only commentaries are written and books are written. Now they write blogs. So, anyway, the very interesting. So the truth is there is no such division. And how come? All across generations these discussions are going on. How come there is no division at all? So the Mahatma gave an example. You see, a woman, a loving woman, she prepared some nice food and served to the family people, or to the guest and family people, she served food. Now that effort of hers, is it karma or bhakti or jnanam? You tell me. It is karma, and it is bhakti, and it is jnanam. Can you separate them? How are you going to separate that? And which is superior in that? The separation is mind-made. Mind sees division where there is none. So mind, she is doing a unitary thing. She is not mixing karma, bhakti and jnanam. She is not making a khichdi kind of thing. She is devoted to one thing. And that one thing is karma, that one thing is bhakti, love, because she loves all these people. You see, a food prepared without love will not taste good, I tell you. That's why sannyasis have a rule. The rule is, when the wife and husband are not in good terms, we don't go to bhiksha. Really. That is the rule for sannyasa. If the person doesn't know, then he may walk ill, but he knows that something is amiss, he won't go. He will bless and he will do anything, but he won't go for bhiksha. Anyway, so the mother preparing food, the woman prepares food, housewife, so prepares food and serves It is karma, it is bhakti, love, and it is jnanam. There is no division. Therefore, if you first posit a division there and ask me which is superior, then I will say jnanam is required. But from my side, I don't see any division. Therefore, for me, bhakti is same as jnanam. Jnanam is same as bhakti. I don't see any division between the two. Bhaktestu ya parakashtha saiva jnanamiti riyate jnanasya ya parakashtha saiva bhakti riti riyate. You reach the zenith of jnanam, that is bhakti. You reach the zenith of bhakti, that is jnanam. There is no division. And that's why Atma Jnanam is same as Atma Prema. It is same. That's why it is not only Sat and Chit, but also Ananda. Ananda is love. Ananda is the Swarupa, but it expresses as love. And therefore Bhakti is love. You see, there is again a small division here. Mind likes to see division. So once this point is tied up, then Bhakti part will be over. Mind sees a division. Love for these things of the world, love for flower, love for this, love for that, and love for Ishvara. So love for Ishvara is Bhakti. Love for the things of the world is not desirable. That is not Bhakti. Like that they say. But we go along with it. At some point, okay, that is true. So leave the love for the things of the world, you give up, and cultivate the love for God. That is bhakti, fine. But I tell you, it is not that simple. If you go a little deeper into it, there is only one love. There are not so many loves. There is only one love. And that love is love for God only. There is no other love. Suppose there is a diamond ring and I love it. Is that not love? No, it is not love. Then what is it? It is called moha. So please be warned. Be exhorted. I love my car. That is not love. It is moha. Moha means infatuation. You are not supposed to love your car. You are supposed to use your car. You are supposed to love God only. You are not supposed to love graham. I love my home. Moha it is. Moha. Whenever you feel like loving an inanimate object, it is moha. Infatuation. Moha is not any good thing it is. Does it sound nice to you? No, moha means it is a delusion. We should avoid it. Then, I love my son. I love my wife. I love my husband. I brought this husband-wife thing unnecessarily. Yeah, because I have put myself in an unenviable situation. So I dropped that as an illustration. I just stay with one thing. I love my son. That is good enough. Otherwise, not necessary. Let us stay with that. So I love my son. Then that is not love either. That is not love. That is attachment. It is called asakti in Sanskrit. You can call it asakti or you can call it sakti, one and the same. But don't call it asakti. Asakti is wrong. Sakti is okay. Asakti is okay. Asamantat sakti. Therefore, love of a relative is attachment. Love of an object is infatuation. Love of God. What is God? The reality behind all the Namarupa and the mover behind all movement. The unseen reality behind all Namarupa, the unseen mover behind all movement. That is Ishvara, and I love that Ishvara. That is love, called bhakti. So, buddhaha bhava samanvitaha. That bhakti, one will be able to get into that mode of bhakti only when sattva guna dominates. And when rajoguna dominates, you know how bhakti will take a shape? Very undesirable shape it takes. The rajoguna dominated bhakti appears in the form of shopkeeping bhakti, it is called. So in shopkeeping, you take money and you give the object. And that is the mercantile spirit of devotion. So, and in business, you give more and take less. That is the business, how the business we do. Because the businessman does like that. He takes more and gives less. That is what business is. Take less, take more and give less. Whereas the type of Rajasic bhakti that we practice, we give less and want to take more. That is the only difference. Otherwise, it is a pure business bhakti. And it is also called convenient bhakti. Very convenient to practice it. And that is Rajasic bhakti. We do not pay much attention, much value to that. We should avoid it. And Rajoguna is not good. Rajoguna is the enemy. Rajoguna, you have to keep it away. So, Kama Esha, Krodha Esha, Rajoguna Samudbhavaha, Mahashano Mahapapma, Vidhyena Miha Vairinam. That is the enemy. So, Vairi, Rajoguna. So, Rajoguna, don't think it is between Sattva and Tamas, therefore it is the reason 50-50. No, it is not 50-50. It has to be avoided at all costs. So, Della Tamoguna, Tamasic Bhakti is it is practiced everywhere, but in India you see most of it, a lot of it you see. So, Tamasic Bhakti means the flagellation, they punish themselves in the name of Bhakti. They do all kinds of things. They put hooks to the back and they are lifted on those hooks and they do namaskar like that. And it is very painful. And they walk on the fire and then put bandages to the feet. So all those things they do. That is tamasic bhakti. So the bhakti which is pure sattva, mishrasya sattvasya, that is what I have described. But just I will add one more word. To begin with, if you want to practice such a pure bhakti with the keeping an altar with a form, etc., that is, form is namarupa, you know. So if you want to keep that namarupa as an option, you are welcome to do that. But you should always have the vision. The namarupa is only a means. The reality is nameless and formless. That vision should be very clear. So anyway, that is the bhakti. Now I have a few questions pending. The verse we will finish tomorrow. Yes. The pending questions I will complete. Dance of Nataraja. There is a question about the dance of Nataraja. The Nataraja model, the question is very timely question. So, the mover behind all movement is Ishvara. Therefore, Ishvara is the prime mover. And therefore, the rishis, they have visualized Ishvara as the dancer, Nataraja. The supreme dancer. Raja is the supreme. Natanam Raja, the supreme dancer. So, this entire universe is an outcome of his dance. Except the word mover, movement. So, replace it with dance. That's all. So, dance represents all movement in this world, in this creation. So, planets going around the sun, they are dancing. It is a kind of a dance. The atoms and the electrons going around the nucleus, etc., it is a dance. This is the vision. And that is the Nataraja. So, the mover behind all movement is personified or visualized as Nataraja. Nata, Jagat is a Natakam. Jagan Natakam it is. And the Sutradhari, the director of this Natakam, this drama called Jagat, is the Nataraja. That is how the concept, that is how the vision came. And then the vision is supplemented by a form. Now Nataraja, who is the vision, prime mover. That is the vision. You don't need a form right away. But then a form is not far behind. It comes quickly. The mind is like that. Human mind is like that. It has to bring a form immediately. That is how the human mind works. For example, I am giving just an illustration how the human mind functions. So for example, wealth, wealth. What is wealth? Lakshmi. It is a Strilinga Shabda. Therefore, a woman's form follows immediately. It doesn't take much time for a woman's form to be associated with the vision called Sampada, Lakshmi. Once the form is associated with a vision, then the vision may be given a go by, and only form remains. It happens like that. It happens like that. And so, in the case of Nataraja also, first it is the vision, the prime mover behind all movement. And the mover need not have a form. It is all pervading reality. That is good enough. But then the mind wants a form. Therefore, what is the form? Dance form. Not any form. Not going round and round. A dance form. And therefore, now the prime mover is the prime dancer. That is Nataraja. And then you have a form and all that. And this is how the Nataraja vision has come about. And this vision is primarily brought about by Bharata Muni, who is the Acharya of dance in India. And in modern times, chronologically speaking, Ananda Kumara Swami. Ananda Kumara Swami is a great Indologist. He was in Sri Lanka for some time, and then he was in America or Europe. I do not know much details about him. He is no more. He is an Indologist of yesteryears. And he is the one who connected this Nataraja, worshipped in temples, etc., to the universal movement. And he describes the prime mover behind this universe is portrayed as Nataraja. Please see the connection. Like that he brought to the notice of people. All glory to him. And that is Ananda Kumara Swami. This aspect alone is highlighted by Octavius Paz of a Mexican Nobel laureate. He highlights this point. And then the Fridtjof Capra. He is the physicist from Arizona University, etc. He wrote the Tao of Physics. There he highlights this point. So I have connected all the dots, and Matta Sarvam Pravartate is the meaning of the Nataraja. Matta Sarvam Pravartate. Everything is moving in this creation because of me. That is what Sri Krishna says. That is the Nataraja. So, a dance and dancer is same. So, all that is explained. That is the question. That finishes that question. Rajasic tendencies of the body force the mind to take distractions. How to control this? You see, you focus on the mind. Don't bother about body. It is the mind. Body, it follows suit. Mind leads, body follows suit. Generally, you need not blame the body. You need not blame the mind also. Observe the mind, don't blame it. If you blame it, you will be conflicted. You will go into a conflict. So now you have to resolve that conflict again. That is another problem. Therefore, you observe, you watch the mind. So mind has these vasanas, these tendencies. You see, I will tell you a principle. There is a vasana, suppose. Let us say jealousy. It's a vasana, a tendency of a latent, it is a predilection of the mind. That is the word. So jealousy. So jealousy, how does it appear? It appears as a thought, So I see a person, a rich man, and I become jealous. So, you see, when you are jealous, are you aware that you are jealous? Generally not. If you are aware that you are jealous, there is a space. That is the space of awareness. So you become jealous, and then that jealousy, it moves forward. And so thoughts will come. How? Oh, this is a useless person, he doesn't have any qualification, but he made a lot of money. And I wish he will lose some of it. And his son is wasting a lot of it, he deserves it. So like that it goes forward and forward and forward. It becomes a train of thoughts, all rooted in jealousy. And once a train of thoughts is created out of one vasana, now you are not there. You are lost in those thoughts. You are not there. And that is how the mind functions. An impure mind functions like that. Now, this impurity is there in the mind. It is there. So don't try to say, don't try to hide it. It is not there. I am very pure. No, there it is. Then the antidote or the solution for this problem of vasana is, I see a rich man and immediately I become jealous. Okay, don't try to justify your jealousy. Never do that mistake. Suppose you bring out some philosophy, some Marxist philosophy and all that, and try to justify jealousy. Yeah, we should be jealous and they should be punished. You should not start like that. Don't justify jealousy. You watch it. It is there. You need not condemn also. It is there. And be aware of it. When you are aware of the jealousy at the moment of its birth as a thought, then the train of thoughts will not be there. And there is the jealousy. I am aware of it. Yes, there is jealousy. In this mind, not in my mind, in this mind, there is jealousy. It doesn't matter. In my mind, if you say, you have to learn to say in this mind rather than my mind, that will be better. That is the Viveka. Therefore, there is jealousy. Okay. So sometimes, we take to sannyasa and we give big speeches, but at the end of the day, I find jealousy in my own mind. No, it is how it is. And I am aware of it. That awareness, its power, you never underestimate. It is the most powerful state of your being, that awareness. And jealousy will melt away. Like ice melts with the light of sun, so jealousy will melt away. Be aware. You continue to suffer from the rajasic tendencies of the mind only because of the inadvertence. If you are conscious of that, and if you are earnest to watch the mind, you stop watching the world. This watching the world is not a good practice. Stop watching the world. So sit here and go on watching what is going on in India, and then becoming agonized about it. So that doesn't help. If you have to give some donations, please do that. But you need not be agonized for something for that reason. So don't watch the world that much. You don't need to watch the world. In fact, I would advise you stop reading newspapers for some time, till the mind becomes less rajasic, because that is what you are asking, I am suggesting. You stop reading news, because that will split the mind into the opposites all the time. So till you gain a hold on these tendencies of the mind, you stop watching the mind, at least reduce. And then instead, watch the mind a little more. And become awareful. Be the watchman. The Zen master's watchman example I told, be the watchman. Be the watchman. So don't employ a watchman. You be the watchman. The rich man, he employs a watchman and he goes and sleeps. Tries to sleep at least. Whereas a wise man, he is the watchman himself. So that is how the rajasic tendencies are controlled. It is not difficult. Don't worry about body. About mind only you pay attention. Tamasic tendencies of the body make one feel lethargic and sleepy, not attentive when necessary. Say at work or listening to lectures. How to deal with this? Tamas, it is easier than rajas. Rajas is very dangerous. Tamas is easier. You have to change some food habits. See, food contributes to tamas. You have to reduce the quantity of the food you take. Generally, 99.9% cases, people overeat. 99.9%, they overeat. And our kitchens, the other day I was saying, the way we organize the kitchens, we construct them and then organize them, then equip them and then use them and all that, it is aimed at overeating and lethargy and pleasure seeking and all that. So, there comes the relevance of yoga. So, practice yoga, and yoga comes with food. So, yuktahara viharasya. See what is the sattvic food presented in Gita, and Yoga Shastra also talks about it. So, moderate food eating habits, and there is a trick in it. If you have too many items, you overeat, certainly. You end up eating more than required. Like some of these people make breakfast. So, idli, dosha, and one sweet, and 2-3 fruits. So now what else you do? Each a little you take, at the end of it you have overeaten. Whereas some practice could be, breakfast is one item, idli, only one item. Now you eat, you will never overeat. You will eat, you have to make an effort to overeat. Unless you are intent upon overeating, you will not overeat. You will eat 3 idli, then you are done with it. Even if you take another piece, it doesn't count as overeating. So, overeating is one thing, and then the quality of food, it must be sattvic. Sattvic food you should eat, and then pranayama you have to do. Pranayama is like Ramabanam against tamoguna. Do pranayama. Then tamoguna will go away. So, this is suggested by Gaudapadacharya also. Laye sambodhaye chittam. So, when mind becomes tamasic, you have to wake it up. How to wake it up? Kapalabhati. Ramdev Baba's Kapalabhati technique is there, you know. You pick it up and do it properly. Learn properly and do it. Kapalabhati will really eliminate tamoguna. And even Sarala Pranayam also will be useful. Is there a breathing technique? Yes. So, does the tamas of the body create ignorance in the mind? Don't worry about body. Body is a tamas only, matter, you know, material thing it is. So, it is the mind only. Don't worry about the body. So, pay attention to the mind. And mind is tamasic. Then body becomes, it is expressed in the laziness of the body. Therefore, the habits that we cultivate, they make us tamasic. So better to be less tamasic. You see, I tell you, when you go to a doctor, sir, I have some back pain like that, if you go, you know what he will do? Nowadays they say, go for MRI. This MRI has become so cheap for people. And if you go for MRI, there are 32 pieces and one of the pieces is missing, something like that. He will be looking like that and say, and so put a permanent disease in the person's mind. All disease begins in the mind, not in the body. Anyway, so coming back to the point, so when the doctor, after MRI, after tablets, all that, you know what he will tell? Try to sleep on a relatively stiff surface, not on a hard plank of wood. That is not proper. A relatively stiff surface, a surface which doesn't yield so much. You such a bed, you choose and sleep. So before the doctor's advice, you can do it now itself. Why to wait for doctor's advice? So the lazy boy furniture, that is what it is. Don't go for lazy boy furniture. That is how to avoid tamoguna. Good enough. We will see other questions tomorrow. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.